Today, not only are we going to grade your trades, but you're going to grade ours. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Friday, January 2nd, 2026. Happy New Year. You're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. My name is Cijntje Gonzalez, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Colby Patnode. We're two lifelong Mariners fans who've been covering the team for over half a decade, and today it's Fan Fiction Friday, the show where you submit your Mariners trade ideas, and we grade them on the 20/80 scale based on creativity, uniqueness, and, of course, if they make sense for both clubs. But this edition of Fan Fiction Friday comes with a little bit of a twist. We're going to react to a few of your trades, of course, but then we're going to give you a few trade ideas of our own. Before we do, I want to shout out our title sponsor today, FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Our first trade of the day comes from Oren. Coby Mayo heading from the Baltimore Orioles to the Seattle Mariners for Carlos Vargas and Jurrangelo Cijntje.
Why? Like that's kind of it's not a bad trade. I'm not telling you it's a bad trade. If something like this happened, it's kind of a challenge trade. Don't see it a ton anymore, but yeah, I mean, these are two prospects that I would say are obviously, again, beauty in the eye of the beholder applies here, but two prospects who are kind of similarly valued, I would think. But if you're the Mariners and you're going to trade Jurrangelo Cijntje for a player who hasn't proven he can play and perform at the major league level, why don't you just keep him and roll with Colt Emerson at third base?
Yeah.
Because you have to consider Mayo the third baseman if you trade for him. Like, obviously Naylor's going to play first base. DH is open, but right now you're kind of rolling with a can zone Ref Snyder thing at DH. So is Mayo actually better than that? I kind of doubt it. So he kind of has to be viewed as a third baseman. And, if you're going to roll with an unproven guy at third base, why wouldn't it be Colt? Like Emerson's
he's a better prospect. His prospect peak is higher than Mayo's prospect peak. Mm-hmm. He's actually going to be able to stay at third base. That for sure, because he's going to be an above average shortstop.
Right. Whereas Mayo's probably better suited for first base.
Yeah.
Like I said.
And honestly, is Mayo's bat even going to be good enough that he's more valuable than Ben Williamson, who is at least a good defender over at third base?
I would say probably, but it's not a guarantee, which is, kind of.
That's my point.
Here, right? If you're trying to,
obviously, in a vacuum, I would rather bank on Coby Mayo than Ben Williamson. But
sure.
Again, if I'm having to weigh trading prospects and all this stuff,
would you rather have Coby Mayo or Jurrangelo Cijntje and Ben Williamson? Valuation wise, I think it's fine. It's just from a Mariners perspective, why? What's the incentive to make this trade? From an Orioles side of things, maybe they think Cijntje can be in their rotation next year, and obviously they have a ton of corner bats. They probably would rather trade Mountcastle, but obviously they're not getting anything of value for Mountcastle right now. So, I don't think it's a bad valuation. I think it's a pretty fun challenge trade that you came up with. It just, when you get to does this make sense for the Mariners thing? I don't see how it does. So I think that's going to limit your grade here, but it's again, I think the valuation is about right. I think, obviously the Mariners are looking for a right-handed hitter. The Orioles need pitching depth and, potential high level pitching depth coming down the pipeline here, as their rotation is still bad, but also very, short term. So, yeah, it's interesting. I just don't see the point if you're the Mariners. So I think I have to cap it at a 50.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. It's the valuation is fine. It's just for the Mariners perspective, I think you're just better off. I think you're just better off, taking your chances with Williamson and Emerson. Ham Swaggerty 69 has a deal here with the Yankees where the Mariners traded the comp round B pick that they were just awarded at the winter meetings and Victor Robles to the Bronx for Camilo Doval. I guess like where this gets hung up for me, just like the Yankees need bullpen help. And what does Victor Robles really do for them? Because I don't think they're going to subtract from their bullpen, which is, again, needs help and has already gotten worse this winter for a comp round B pick. It's just not really the Yankees' speed.
Yeah. I don't think this really matters. My guess is it's more to just kind of even out salaries a little bit, but I don't know what the Yankees are going to do with Victor Robles.
No.
But, it seems like they want another bat in the outfield, but Robles isn't a bat really at the end of the day. And it sounds like they would prefer a left-handed hitter. But anyways, I think the crux of the deal is the comp round B pick for Doval. And I don't think, like you said, the Yankees are kind of competing this year. They need bullpen help. Subtracting from the bullpen is not something they're likely to do. But I do think the idea of like that comp round B pick for a couple of years of a reliever like Doval, it makes sense. Like that's a good thought. So I think you picked the wrong team here. But I think the valuation is pretty good for a reliever like Doval. So again, maybe it's Raley instead of Robles, whatever. Maybe it's Canzone. I don't know. But I think like that comp round B pick and one of your, I don't want to call them a spare part because you really don't have parts to spare right now. But comp round B pick, and maybe it's like a decent but not top 10 prospect, or it's Robles or it's Canzone, whatever. For a couple of years of a reliever like that, I think is pretty good. So kind of conflicted because the actual deal you proposed, I just don't see much of a point for the Yankees to do it. But I think overall, in general, the idea behind this swap, I think makes a good amount of sense. So I don't know how to square that circle. So 50? I don't
square that circle. All right. I like it. Yeah, I'm like at a 45, I think.
Yeah, just because like like I said, the trade itself.
Yeah, like the general like idea of it is fine. It's just like this is a non-starter for the Yankees. I think so. Like this just isn't really something that I can imagine them doing or even entertaining. Like I think you just kind of get laughed off the phone by them specifically.
Like the Mariners side of things. But.
Oh yeah. Like in general in a vacuum, like it's a nice idea. It's just from the Yankees' perspective, they just lost Devin Williams. Their bullpen was very shaky over the course of 2025. They need to make it better, and then they're going to subtract from it again for a comp round B pick. That's not going to happen. Yeah, they're just not going to do that. So, so it's a 45 to a 50 for me. All right, we have one more listener trade to go over, and then we'll get into our trades in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is once again brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new. Boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect, right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour. Every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen for all things Mariners. And also thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Mariners with no interruptions, members only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month. $50 a year. Go to lockedonmariners.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. It's Fan Fiction Friday. We got one more trade from one of our listeners. We're going to react to that, and then we're going to get into our trades. Night Runner has a deal here with the Cubs. It's Nico Hoerner, as well as Luis Martinez-Gomez, and $1 million for Jurrangelo, Cijntje, and Samad Taylor. The Night Runner adds, Cubs are about $36 million under the luxury tax, which would be close to getting Gino Suarez and Zach Gallen. This clears $10 million and gives them more margin.
Nico is tough because you only get him for a year, but he's probably going to be about a 5-win player. And the style that he plays, it translates to any ballpark, so there's really not anything you have to worry about with the T-Mobile of it all. So, yeah, I think the Cubs would probably want more. Would be my hunch, even though again it's only 1 year of Hoerner. So, yeah, I think it's a little light. I don't know anything about the prospect that you have coming back to Seattle. So, yeah. But because I think you're not giving up enough here, I don't think the prospect matters. So yeah. I think, the Cubs are a tough team to kind of evaluate because they're kind of where you're at. They're obviously not willing to go past the luxury tax. So we talked about in the past, like Luis Castillo for Nico Hoerner. That made since last winter. It doesn't anymore from a Cubs perspective. So yeah, it's a little bit tough to say. But I think, Samad Taylor and Martinez-Gomez, no disrespect to those guys, throw them out of the deal. They don't matter. Mm-hmm. So it's Hoerner for Cijntje. I think you need more. It might be something like Cijntje and Bizzardo, like something off your major league roster, or it might be like, no, we're not trading him unless we get Ryan Sloan, like as the headliner here. So I'm not quite sure what to do with Nico Hoerner trades. I think Cijntje is a fine co-headliner at the best. So I think you need a Laz or an Arroyo thrown in here, or you might have to dip into your major league bullpen. The Cubs have spent a ton of resources trying to fix their bullpen this winter. So could they be interested they have 2 lefties. I don't know if they want to carry 3, but could they be interested in Gabe Spire here? Maybe that might be an avenue to go down too. One thing to keep in mind when you're doing these trades for these rentals in the winter for one full season is there's some math going on here. Do teams think the qualifying offer is going to survive the CBA negotiations that are coming up? Because if you do, and you're the Mariners, you could look at it and be like, well, we're trading hypothetically Cijntje and let's just say both of them, right? We're trading them for Hoerner. Yeah, but we're also getting a 2027 top 40 round pick or a top 40 pick. So it's really like a first round pick and Hoerner for these 2 prospects, or you can extend Hoerner and you get him for more than 1 year. So it's kind of one of those things where you have to kind of factor that in, but also the Cubs are going to factor that in from their end. It's like, yeah, we just keep Hoerner and get the draft pick next year if they think that the qualifying offer and the compensation system is going to be similar in the new CBA. So we'll kind of have to wait and see here, but I think you're a co-headliner short of getting Hoerner. I'd love to be wrong, certainly. But I think it's going to take 2 top, 50 to 80-ish prospects to get this done, even though it's only for 1 year.
Yeah, so I'm at like a 40 on this.
I don't know. It's tough to say. I think I'm 45, somewhere in that range, 40, 45. So
yeah. All right. Well, it's time to get into our trades now. How many do you have?
Like, I would say 2 firm ones, and then like 2 that are like vague ideas that need to be talked through, maybe for like an entire episode next week, because the Mariners are giving us nothing, no new content. So we might have to make something up for next week.
So I have two. They're not like a huge deal. One of them I'll just say right now, like I don't like it, but like it's something that popped in my head because I only had one that I was gonna do because I knew that you had like a few at least ideas that you wanted to go over. So, but yeah, so I have two. So we'll I don't know. Do you want to start?
Luke Raley. For Jose Caballero.
Okay.
Funny, right? But it kind of makes sense.
That is funny. That is funny.
It kind of makes sense. If the Yankees are unable to bring back Bellinger, we know they want a left-handed hitting outfielder. Luke Raley fits that ballpark very well.
Cashman say that there were two left-handed though?
Yes,
start of the offseason?
But they're still in on Bellinger, so I don't know what to tell you.
Whatever.
But they also have like 7 infielders on their roster, and apparently they're interested in Bo Bichette. So they're going to have to make moves here in their infield. And obviously Jazz Chisholm's kind of been in the news recently for trade stuff and other stuff. But he's been in the news recently about, hey, you might get traded. Yankees fans are furious because they want them to trade Volpe, who the Mariners did have a lot of interest in at the draft. So just keep an eye on that. That's a possibility too. Yeah. But they're going to have to move some of these guys, and the Mariners could really use a right-handed hitter who can play multiple spots in the infield, provide some value offensively. Caballero is a guy who strikes out a ton, but he also steals a ton of bases, and he can play 8 positions. And they have similar club control. So I think it's funny because, obviously they were already traded for each other once, but I kind of think it makes sense that they might get traded for each other again. It's just, there's a domino that has to fall the correct way for this to be a realistic option here. But keep an eye on the Yankees and their infielders. Obviously Jazz Chisholm would be the preference, I think, but Volpe could be a surprise, kind of that like, whoa, didn't see that coming type of thing to play some third base for you. But also Jose Caballero is a guy who fits this roster pretty well considering where they're at. So, I don't know if Luke Raley gets it done or not, but I just thought that was kind of a funny trade that kind of makes sense.
That is funny.
It's already happened. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll throw that one out there. So there you go. Luke Raley for Jose Caballero, part 2.
Well, speaking of Luke Raley, I guess I'll give you the trade that I came up with that I don't like, but I'm just going to say it because and just leave it at that, because this is one of those trades where it's like, well, maybe. It's a trade with the Cardinals. Luke Raley for Brendan Donovan. No, I'm kidding. It's Luke Raley. It's Luke Raley for Nolan Gorman.
No thanks.
Yeah,
I just like.
It kind of lines up like club control wise. I think they have the same amount of club control.
Yeah, I guess how much does how done are the Cardinals with Gorman? Because Gorman's younger.
He's also just
you can't even
not,
be Gorman plays a more valuable position. No,
he just stands there. Yeah.
Luke Raley would be as good of a third baseman or second baseman as Nolan Gorman if you gave him that shot.
We've seen Luke Raley.
No, I stand by that. I don't care. I stand by that. Nolan Gorman doesn't need a glove. You're just wasting time there. So it's all on the bat. He's a left-handed bat. He doesn't even hit right-handed. So it's just
he strikes out a ton too. Yeah, he's not CTZ at all. Career 300 on base.
Jordan Walker, who's also a Cardinals bust. Boy, the Cardinals really struggle at developing hitters, don't they? I'm sure JJ Weatherholt will be fine though.
Sure. I don't know. It just popped in my head. I was like,
I'll trade him for Matt Swanson.
Yeah, sure. Look, we've talked about so many players, so many trade ideas. It is very hard to think outside the box. That was my attempt at thinking outside the box.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anyways, there's a couple 40s for you to get things started.
Yeah. Well, I like the Raley and Caballero idea a bit more than a 40.
They only get more unhinged from there.
Just because it's funny, I would give it at least a 50. It gave me a laugh. So
trust me, they get a lot worse and more unhinged after that. So
You're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, we have a Patreon. It's called Control the Zone, and on there we talk Mariners, Seahawks, all that good stuff. For more information, go to patreon.com/Control the Zone. Link in the description of this episode. So those were a couple of trades, I guess, for you.
Sure.
To get the ball rolling here. What's your next trade?
All right, so I have Felnin, Celesten.
Okay.
Jurrangelo, Cijntje.
Mm-hmm.
And this will tell you what team they're going to. Ty Pete.
Oh, okay. So it's Tampa.
Yes. For Griffin, Jax.
Okay.
And TJ Nichols. Or Joe Boyle, but I don't think that the Rays are ready to give up on that. I want Joe Boyle to be in the bullpen so bad.
So I thought they were trading for Griffin Jax to convert him to the rotation this year.
Yeah,
but
I think we both did.
But apparently that's not happening.
Nope.
Okay.
No mention of it. So yeah. I'm not quite sure. They just really didn't like Taj Bradley. I'm not sure. But.
And now they've traded Boz as well. Like, it seems like this is the time to convert Griffin Jax into a starter. Like,
it's got 2 years left of club control. So like you give him the first half of this year to start, and then you trade him at the deadline again. Like, but yeah, it doesn't sound like it. So yeah, you get Griffin Jax for 2 years. TJ Nichols is like a 6'4", $190 dude who still throws pretty hard with good stuff. And so, he is projectable and all that. I really like Joe Boyle. I want to see that. That is Matt Brash stuff. If you could just refine it a little bit, I would stick him in the bullpen. Obviously, he's not in my rotation, but yeah, one of those two guys would be nice. But yeah, it's Felnin and it's Ty Pete, two guys we know that the Rays have liked in the past. I think one thing that Mariner fans probably aren't willing to accept at this point is that Felnin Celesten's trade value has to be significantly damaged by this point. He can't stay on the field. And that's going to be a mark against him. It's stunting his development a little bit. He's still a good prospect, don't get me wrong. But he is not like a headliner for a all-star caliber player. He's just not that guy right now. So he could be in a year or two again, if he can stay on the field, but he's not right now. So I think it's Cijntje and Felnin as kind of like co-headliners. And then it's just Ty Pete for, a lottery ticket for one of their lower ranked lottery tickets and Nichols. But yeah, that's the idea. Give them air. I would say Griffin Jax is the daddy in the bullpen. So
strikes out a lot of guys. He doesn't walk that many. He
did give up elevated, but
he did give up quite a few runs this past year, but had a little bit of a home run issue. I mean, it was only 7 homers and 66 innings, but it was a 15.6% home run to fly ball rate.
Came against Cal Raleigh, probably. So yeah,
I know one of them did.
Yeah, I think Griffin Jax would fit really well. So it's kind of like, look, you're trying to get this infield, you're trying to build out this lineup, and it's like, okay, if you can't do that, you still need to pivot and build the best team you possibly can. So as I've mentioned in the past, if you can't build out the offense the way you want, it's time to build that screw you bullpen and just try and win games 3-2. And I think this is an appropriate pivot because, as we've discovered, there's really not a lot of bats that check a lot of the boxes the Mariners want to check. And so if you can't do it that way, we need to prevent more runs. And the way to do that is to improve your pitching. And I think Griffin Jax does that.
I just wonder if like Felnin and Jurrangelo, even if it's both as like the headliners, I don't know if that's enough for Jax.
I don't either.
Like, is Arroyo better as a headliner? Is Laz better? Like, obviously beauty is in the eye of the beholder here. Like, what would the Rays prefer? But like, I do wonder if they're like Sloan or bust for Jax.
Yeah, and at that point you're done. So it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that at least gets a conversation going. I don't know. Maybe they love Griffin Jax. I don't know, but
yeah. I just like, if they're not converting him to a starter, why did they make that trade?
It's weird to me that they're making the moves they've made, but then they're going to keep Uceta, Clevenger, and Jax. Like, why? Cash in on those guys, or at least one of them. But whatever.
Yeah. All right. I got a reliever trade. Okay. It's a guy we've talked about quite a bit. Juan Mejia. from the Rockies. It's a similar idea to the Gregory Santos thing, where it's like it's 1 year production,
right?
Trying to buy in early on that, and obviously it's pretty dangerous because it's a guy that pitches in Colorado, but he actually pitched pretty well in Colorado. It was a sub-4 ERA. I got Corbyn Dickerson going there. It could be Corbyn Dickerson, or it could be the comp round B pick. I kind of feel like the value, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I kind of feel like the values of Dickerson and the comp round B pick are similar. Maybe they're not. Maybe the comp round B pick is more valuable, especially to the Rockies. But Dickerson feels very Colorado-y, because it's like really good defense, can cover a lot of ground, and huge raw power. Right, like, that feels very Corsi. It feels like a very Corsi profile.
Also, if you kind of struggle against breaking stuff, Colorado's a good place to play in because of the high altitude. The ball doesn't spin as well. So
yeah. And then I just have like Matt Tiberia and Ryan Hawks as a couple of throw-ins. Tiberia was activated towards the end of the year.
He reminds me of Brian.
He was pretty good. He was pretty good before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And then Hawks like induced it
of Brian Wu. Obviously, he's not going to be Brian Wu, but like
yeah. And Hawks didn't miss a ton of bats, but he kept the ball on the ground a lot. So.
Sure. Yeah. He's a potential middle guy.
Yeah.
Middle relief guy.
So
yeah. I think that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he again, it's the Gregory Santos idea. It's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. All right, let's get off the rails for the last. Let's do it. Yeah. So these are all involving George Kirby. So
oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were just gonna give me like Jazz Chisholm trades and
who says I'm not? So
oh God. Oh no. All right.
All right. So first up, this is kind of a pick which one you like better, not so much grade, but whatever.
Okay.
George Kirby for Jazz Chisholm, Will Warren, and Chase Hampton. Or you could do Kirby for Nico Hoerner, Ben Brown, and Jonathan Long. And I might as well tell you my other one because it's also a George Kirby. This one I thought of just this morning while I was driving in. So it's not fully like worked out, but the idea is George Kirby, and then probably a decent prospect to the Brewers for Freddie Peralta and Abner Uribe.
All right. Interesting.
So, 3 years of Kirby for 1 year of the headliner that you'd be getting back, either Jazz, Nico, or Peralta. Although I would argue Uribe might be the actual headliner of the other trade, but whatever. So, and then you kind of try and get like the guy to replace Kirby until you can get to the middle of the year where maybe Anderson is a thing.
Yeah.
Will Warren is fine. Not much of a breaking ball, but he's fine.
Would the Yankees do that?
Would
the Yankees do Chisholm plus Warren plus Hampton? I mean, Hampton's like kind of whatever in that deal, but
Hampton hasn't been healthy in 2 years.
Yeah.
But like stuff is good.
Club controlled, 2-win pitcher this year.
Yeah. If you looked at his underlying stuff, he does not have good stuff. Like he's a guy who I think could survive at T-Mobile Park for half a year. Then I might shift him into the bullpen or trade him next winter. So I don't know if they do that. But this is, again, like if I'm trading George Kirby, I have to get something that helps me this year and kind of a replacement, or at least a potential replacement for half a year. And that's why Ben Brown's in the other one. Ben Brown has incredible stuff. He just kind of sucks at pitching. So
I think the one that entices me the most is the Brewers one, obviously, because it's Uribe and Peralta.
And again, that might cost also like Arroyo. I don't know.
Yeah, because like the Brewers, I mean, they're going to start running into a similar problem that they're already running into.
Yeah, they're kind of pushing the Peralta thing back a year or two, and that's it.
Yeah, and Peralta, they're like wanting to trade despite him only making like $8 million this year.
Yeah,
and like Kirby's going to make more than that next year.
Yep. Right about that at least. Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like that's the one that I would like. I just don't think the Brewers like it would probably be more
Kirby, Arroyo, and like I don't know.
But and then at that point for the Mariners, but then at that point for the Mariners, like are you doing all that for Abner Uribe? Because that's really what you're doing it for.
Right. Well, I mean, I would argue you're getting a better pitcher in 2026 based on the years
Sure.
those two guys just
Sure.
had. And then
Sure.
you're getting, again, if you think, and keep in mind with all three of these trades, the prize you're getting is a rental. Like the main piece you're getting is a rental. Do you believe that there will be, compensation, the qualifying offer? Do you think
Right.
that system
Yeah.
will survive? Because if you do, all three of those guys are going to net you a first round pick in 2027. So
Yeah.
that's kind of part of this as well. It's like, okay, well, I'm trading Kirby. Like I'm trading Kirby for only 1 year of Jazz. So it's like, well, you're trading Kirby for 1 year of Jazz plus the 2027 first round pick, top 40 pick, plus Will Warren, plus Chase Hampton. So and that's if you don't re-sign, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Mariners would want to re-sign any of these guys. Probably Nico.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you said Hoerner, Ben Brown, and Jonathan Long.
Yeah, Long's kind of a first base only, so he's a tough fit. But
I really like Jonathan Long though. Yeah, he can hit.
Yeah.
He can hit, and he gets on base too.
He's a righty too, right-handed hitter.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah,
he is, right?
Yep.
So I mean, heck, maybe Jonathan Long. They just let's just make him the DH. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, Jonathan Long can really hit. So even though he doesn't fit very well, it's like figure it out.
Yeah, he's just he's crushed every level he's been at.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So there you go.
I don't think the Mariners would do any of this.
No.
Yeah.
That's because they're cowards. I want the Mariners to get uncomfortable. And what I mean, I don't mean I want them to make a bad trade. I want them to be like, look, we don't want to trade George Kirby. And it's probably not going to look great that we do, but we ultimately believe that trading Kirby now makes us better in 2026. Then we're willing to do that. Plus, we all know George Kirby's not signing an extension here. Cut to 3 hours from now, but he's not signing an extension. He wants to leave. So just head it off at the pass. And by the way, next year, you trade him next year with 2 years left. That's kind of the sweet spot to trade guys.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a lockout all winter. So how much time are you really going to have?
I think if you are trading him this winter, it has to be something like the Brewers deal, where you're getting a short-term upgrade in the rotation, and you're getting a long-term piece that you really, really, really like.
Or you trade it for Ketel Marte, and you're just kind of I guess we'll see what happens here.
Wow. So, yeah.
I would like to see the Mariners get a little uncomfortable and trade off their major league roster if it makes sense. I don't want them to just shut that off entirely. If they could find a trade where trading Bryce Miller makes sense, they should consider that. Right now, I don't think they will. Just like they needed to get out of their comfort zone and go after rentals at the deadline. Look how well that worked. Trust yourself, trust your valuations.
Yeah.
So I would like to see them get a little more uncomfortable than they appear to be willing to do. And no, that doesn't mean trading Ryan Sloan for Brendan Donovan. I'm not telling them to make bad trades. I'm telling them to make trades that make them a little uncomfortable. Take a shot, because this is the time to do it.
All right. That is going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For Colby, Patnode, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Titan Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.